Hello, everyone. Welcome to another MedFit Education Foundation webinar. Today we have with us Talia Taylor, and her topic is going to be strength training for the mind, non-drug strategies to boost brain health and performance. And with that, let's meet Talia virtually, and you can meet her in person, and I'll let her take over. Talia is a wellness strategist, science communicator, and brand ambassador for Beacon 40, a company advancing non-pharmaceutical solutions for brain health. She has over 15 years experience in biotech, clinical laboratories, and healthcare innovation, and she has contributed to the Human Genome Project. She has degrees in biology and biopharmaceutical technology from UNC Chapel Hill, and her commitment to cognitive wellness is personal, shaped by the loss of her mother to early onset dementia and a passion for helping others enhance brain health and longevity. All right, Talia, I'm going to turn it over to you, so you can just take us away.
Thank you, Jonathan, for that nice introduction. Can you hear me
You're
okay?
welcome. Yeah, and I'm going to turn off my mic and camera, but I'll still be here observing in the background if anything goes wrong. You're only going to hear from me again until the end if something goes wrong.
Okay, well, let's dive in, shall we? We're going to talk about the foundations of brain health, how to strengthen cognition without relying on medication. What we're going to cover, first we're going to start with how the brain ages and how we can support it. We're going to talk about evidence-based lifestyle strategies, including movement, nutrition, sleep, and mindfulness. We'll spotlight midlife cognitive shifts, including brain fog and sleep disruption, especially for women. You'll also learn about new tools like 40 Hertz light therapy, which show promising results in boosting memory and focus. By the end, you should have a clear, actionable framework that you can use for coaching and self-care. So let's start with what happens to the brain as we age. Some brain regions shrink, especially in the hippocampus and prefrontal cortex. These areas are key for memory and decision making. Neural shifts slow, the signal slow because of thinning myelin sheaths, and this is what insulates the neurons. We have this happening over time. It's a natural process. We also see reductions in neurotransmitters like dopamine and acetylcholine. This can affect our focus, our mood, and our motivation. Finally, there is oxidative stress and inflammation that increases. This makes our brain more vulnerable to cognitive decline. But let's remember, these changes are a part of aging. They're normal. They're not a guarantee of dementia. With that said, global dementia costs are projected to exceed 2 million by 2030. Now, on to the good news. Your brain can adapt. Somehow there's a slide problem. It's skipping slides, but I can go on to this slide. The brain can adapt. We have a brain resilience trio. Our brain is not fixed. The trio is neuroplasticity, cognitive reserve, and gamma rhythm. Thanks to neuroplasticity, or the idea that your brain is never finished, we know that the brain can rewire itself even later in life. New experiences, new movement patterns, and even new mindsets can actually strengthen connections in your brain. We also have something called cognitive reserve. So let's think of this as like the brain's backup system. It's hidden, but it's still operating. It's built through things like curiosity and social engagement, movement, purpose, learning. People with higher cognitive reserve actually often show fewer symptoms, even when brain scans show aging or damage in their brain. And there's one more piece, your brain's gamma rhythm. Gamma rhythms are a type of brain activity, and one frequency in particular, 40 hertz, is linked to memory, attention, and high-level coordination across brain regions. We're going to talk more about gamma as we go along. But as we age, our brains produce less gamma. The exciting part is we can stimulate this brain rhythm externally, And new research proves that this supports brain health as we age. So I'm going to check the slide. Okay. The slide deck is not working correctly. Let's see here. Let me just go ahead and finish talking about the foundations we're going to talk about. If you're building new brain habits, or you're strengthening connections, or exploring new tools, you're shaping the brain that you'll live with tomorrow. Your brain can grow stronger, it can grow more connected, and it can grow more synchronized. And that's starting today, starting now. So as we talk about these foundations, these are changes you can make now, and you will be improving your brain health as you go forward. We're adjusting the slides. It looks like they're skipping maybe every 4 slides or something like that. Let me just back up and talk about some of the things we're going to learn that we can address. We are able to prevent dementia risk quite a bit. There are many areas that have been identified that we can actually target to reduce our cognitive decline risk. According to the 2024 Lancet Commission, up to 45% of dementia cases are linked to factors we can actually modify. Now we're on the right side. Thanks, Bart. Our computer brain needs some good brain health tips today. This is nearly half of the cases of dementia, right? And the prevention really is in reach. This Lancet Commission identified 45 modifiable risk factors, and these across all of our life stages. They show up in every stage from early life, such as early education or obesity, and even midlife with hearing loss, and into later life with smoking. And while not all risks carry the same weight, addressing even one can help you reduce long-term brain risk in a meaningful way. Things like addressing your hearing loss sooner than later is one example of that. So there's something else I want to mention here. While these are modifiable risk factors, there's another area that is often overlooked, but it's very important, and that's chronic inflammation. This is a silent disruptor in the brain, and inflammation is triggered by things like poor sleep, sedentary routines, stress, and processed food diet. Once it's activated, it impairs everything from your memory to your mood. The upside is that many of the strategies we're going to talk about today, like movement, antioxidant-rich foods, stress management, they don't just improve how you feel day to day, but they actually reduce neuroinflammation. This helps keep your brain sharper longer. So again, no matter what stage or what age, it's never too late to make a change. Start where you are today, and let's build from there. Now, our next slide was the brain resilient trio that I talked about: neuroplasticity, cognitive reserve, and gamma rhythm. And we can go on to the next slide, which is the first foundation. And many of you know a lot about this. We're talking about movement. And by moving your body, you're training your brain. Physical activity isn't just great for the heart. It's a game changer for the brain. When you move your body, you're boosting blood flow. You're delivering oxygen and nutrients that the brain needs to function well. It also promotes neurogenesis, or the growth and creation of new brain cells. This is especially important in areas like the hippocampus, which is critical for memory. Exercise also increases BDNF, and that's brain-derived neurotrophic factor. You're going to hear me say that a lot today. Think of it as miracle grow for your neurons. It supports learning, cellular repair, and helps the brain grow and adapt. And yes, I said grow. Your brain continues to grow. We're going to learn more about that. Regular movement improves your memory, mood, and executive function. And this helps with things like focus, emotional regulation, decision making. Here's the headline: just 35 minutes a week. So like one, not even one Netflix show that you stream. 35 minutes a week of moderate exercise or activity has been linked to nearly a 40% reduced risk of dementia. That's amazing. So whether you're walking, doing strength training, dancing, stretching, movement is one of the most powerful brain boosters. It is a non-drug tool that you have in your tool bag to help protect your cognitive health. So, how does movement actually support brain health on a biological level? First, it increases BDNF, that miracle grow I mentioned, which helps your brain with new brain cells and strengthening the connection between those cells. Exercise also boosts insulin sensitivity, which helps your brain use the energy that it takes in more efficiently. This is essential for keeping your focus. Exercise also reduces chronic inflammation, which plays a big role in age-related decline, as I mentioned before. Exercise and movement also regulates cortisol, which helps us stay calm, resilient, and less reactive. Altogether, these things enhance executive function, and this helps with things like planning, memory, attention. All of these things together point to the bottom line. Movement strengthens your brain and your body. Now, for women, muscle is very important for our brain health. In midlife and beyond, movement has an extra benefit for us. It supports and stabilizes our mood, helps keep our muscle mass preserved. It also balances hormones, which are very tricky as we age. This helps regulate blood sugar and inflammation because you can think of the muscles as a metabolic engine. Uh, this movement that we're doing, it isn't just fitness. It's really essential brain maintenance. So you can think of muscle as metabolic brain gold, if you like. Now, here's what a healthy brain plan for movement could look like for the week. It's pretty easy. Think about 150 minutes of moderate cardio over the week, walking, dancing, cycling, and then add in 2 to 3 strength training sessions to build lean mass and support your hormones. You also can sprinkle in one mind-body activity. This could be yoga, tai chi, dance. This is helping to improve your balance and breath awareness. And then each day, think about how you can sprinkle in micro movements, taking a stretch break if you're working, taking short walks. This keeps your blood flowing and the brain engaged. And often, if you're starting to feel sluggish, you can take one of these breaks and then come back more focused and re-energized to go about your day. Essentially, what you want to keep in mind here when you're planning this week or daily activity is that when you build consistency, you're building cognition. Now, let's go on to nutrition. Here's some nutrition for me. Let's nourish to flourish. Your brain might only be 2% of your total body weight, but it burns 20% of your total body's energy. This means that what you eat directly impacts how well your brain is functioning. Let's start with some anti-inflammatory, antioxidant-rich foods. Think leafy greens, berries, olive oils, nuts, and fatty fish. These protect your brain and they help your brain cells grow while slowing aging. Balanced blood sugar is also key. Big swings in glucose, so spikes up and down, they can raise your anxiety and crash your focus. Meals with protein, fiber, and healthy fats help stabilize that. Speaking of fat, You may not be aware, but your brain is actually 60% fat by dry weight. So getting those omega-3s from salmon, walnuts, flaxseed, they help build healthy brain cells and support your mood. So during midlife, the need for nutrients like choline, B vitamins, magnesium, all of those, they really increase. This is especially true for women who are navigating menopausal shifts. Some people like to explore different diets, such as keto or low carb. And when I'm talking about this, I'm not talking about weight loss. I'm talking about fuel flexibility and clarity for cognitive support. These approaches shift the brain to burning ketones instead of glucose. And this may help with energy, focus, clarity for some people, but it's especially important for people who have insulin resistance or early stages of cognitive decline. It's not the only option, but it shows how targeted nutrition can shift your mental performance. The big takeaway here is that nutrition is very important because the brain needs steady fuel, good fats, and consistent nourishment. You're not just eating for your body, you're feeding your future focus. Let's talk a little bit more about how food is cognitive fuel. The brain uses glucose, as I mentioned earlier, with ketones. It can use ketones or glucose, but it mainly uses glucose as its primary energy source. It can also run on ketones, especially when you're in a low carb state or if you're fasting. Clean, steady fuel helps stabilize mood and mental clarity. You can think of it like your car. If you put higher octane, it's going to burn more smoothly and run well for you. Second thing to think about is food is also protective. Antioxidants from colorful fruits and vegetables help reduce oxidative stress. Omega-3s help support healthy membranes and neural communication. That's helping to reduce inflammation. Third, let's think about our neuroplasticity. Nutrients like BDMF support brain growth. And this is your ability to adapt, grow, like I said, that miracle grow with your neurons. These are all vital for memory and learning new things. Lastly, we need to think about how hormonal balance comes into play. Food affects your hormones, things like estrogen, insulin, and cortisol. This is not just for women, this is for everyone. These directly influence your mood, your focus, and your resilience. The bottom line is if you can shift your mindset to think every bite either supports your brain or it stresses it. You can make food your cognitive ally if you consider it as fuel. This has been a difficult shift for me, but I find that once I think of it that way, I can make better choices. Now, in midlife, I do need to make better choices because nutrition needs shift, not just for me, but for all of us. Magnesium helps improve and, and enhance our sleep. It also helps us manage stress. We can find this in leafy greens and pumpkin seeds. Choline, which is found in eggs and salmon and soy foods, support memory and cognitive function. B vitamins regulate homocysteine, and those are found in whole grains, beans, and eggs, among other things. These are important because homocysteine is a compound in your brain that's been linked to brain aging. Omega-3s continue to support your mood and protect your brain cells. One thing to keep in mind, just like with the keto or low carb diet, nutrition is not one size fits all. You need to figure out what's best for you or your client on a case-by-case basis. But in midlife, it really can be a secret weapon to keeping you focused and sharp. So, what are the takeaways from what we're talking about with nutrition? Here are some action steps that you can take. Aim to eat plenty of antioxidant-rich foods and vegetables every day. This will protect against oxidative stress and support your brain's resilience. Include healthy fats at every meal, like fish, nuts, olive oils, MCT oil. These support brain cell structure, hormones, and inflammation balance. Balance your meals by pairing proteins, carbs, and fiber together with fat. This will help keep your blood sugar steady. Combining the carbs and protein together help maintain energy and focus. You need them both. Hydrate and limit your added sugars. Water is one of the best things because it supports memory and mood, and sugar spikes from energy drinks or other drinks will make you crash, and that can impair your focus and energy. Consider supplements like omega-3s, B vitamins, and magnesium if needed. These can be especially helpful during stress or with restricted diets like a vegan diet. And if you do explore keto or low carb for clarity and brain health, you should do so thoughtfully. It might work for some, but you should work with a health professional like yourself to guide these types of diets, yes. Now, on to sleep. Sleep is not to be taken lightly. Sleep is your brain repair mode. And I have focused on sleep a lot in the last couple of years, and I will say that it is a non-negotiable now for myself. It's more than just rest. It's brain repair mode because while you sleep, your brain goes through several critical processes. It consolidates memory, regulates mood and hormones, and it flushes out metabolic waste. This includes beta amyloid plaque, and this flushing is happening through the lymphatic system. Sort of acts like nighttime janitor or cleaning crew. In midlife, our hormones shift and disrupt our sleep patterns. And we know from the CDC that 1 in 3 of us do not get enough sleep. And maintaining a routine sleep schedule and managing light exposure can help support brain health, healthy brain rhythms. One thing to keep in mind when I say sleep's important is that even one single night of short sleep can raise your beta amyloid plaque by about 5% in the hippocampus. Now, you miss multiple nights, and what you build up is something researchers call sleep debt. No one wants to be in debt, but your brain will keep that tab open until you find the time to restore it with deep reparative sleep. Another key to understanding your sleep is to understand your own circadian rhythm. This is your internal 24-hour body clock. It governs when melatonin should rise and when cortisol should fall, when your brain wants to be alert or needs to be resting. Exposure to natural light in the morning within 30 minutes of waking and avoiding bright screens at night are really powerful ways to reset this rhythm. When our circadian rhythm gets disrupted, we see that we have brain fog, poor focus, sometimes cravings, and mood instability. Now, in midlife, women especially find that their sleep is disrupted. Some of these challenges include night sweats, hormonal waking, racing mind, early waking insomnia, and sleep complaints increase up to 60% during perimenopause. And that's from NAMS, the North American Menopause Society. We all know women who are having trouble sleeping. I have been one of them at times. So, how can we help our brain health by helping our sleep habits? To improve sleep, you should try to aim for a consistent sleep-wake time, even on the weekend. Have 15 to 30 minutes of morning light within the first 30 minutes of waking. So it can be a sunny window, or maybe you step out on your patio. One thing that helps me a lot is creating a calming wind down ritual. And this could be stretching, journaling, reading, taking a warm bath, just something that shifts your body into knowing it's time to get ready to sleep. Um, if you need to, consider supplements, magnesium and GABA. Magnesium supports better sleep by helping regulate cortisol, boosting melatonin, and activating GABA, which is gamma aminobutyric acid. This is a calming neurotransmitter that tells the brain it's time to wind down. While GABA supplements show early promise, magnesium has the stronger clinical evidence, especially in forms like glycinate or threonate. If you are having hormonal challenges with your sleep, like hot flashes at night or night sweats, then you should seek some professional guidance on that. Now, let's talk about mindfulness. Mindfulness can train your brain. And chronic stress that we all are experiencing at times in our life raises cortisol. This harms our memory and our learning. Mindfulness is one of the most accessible and powerful tools for strengthening the brain, especially when you are under stress or chronic stress. When we practice mindfulness, we activate the prefrontal cortex. This is the area responsible for decision making, empathy, and self regulation, while calming the amygdala, which fuels reactivity. Even just 10 minutes a day of mindfulness has been shown to improve focus, reduce anxiety, and support emotional regulation. Breath work and body awareness strengthen the connection between brain and body. Being present, being aware, help manage the emotional ups and downs that are often common in midlife. Practicing just 10 minutes a day of mindfulness has been shown to ease depression, anxiety, and motivate people to adopt a healthier lifestyle. This is according to a study that was done by the British Journal of Health Psychology last year. Now, for women especially, but all of us, in midlife our stress shifts. For women, as estrogen drops, we are increasingly sensitive to stress. This removes one of the body's natural buffers to stress. It can make us more emotionally reactive and physically sensitive. At the same time, unfortunately, cortisol, the primary stress hormone, can tend to stay elevated longer. This hormonal combination can be a nightmare when you're living through it, but it can lead through to brain fog, memory glitches, and mood swings. Believe me, it is not your imagination. Your body is literally recalibrating its nervous system. This is where mindfulness becomes such a powerful tool. Even short daily practices can regulate your mood and lower anxiety, improve your sleep, building emotional resilience. Essentially, it is like a strength training for your brain. This leads to promoted neuroplasticity, and overall, it is one of the most powerful things that we can do. So, what does mindfulness actually look like? What counts for mindfulness? What do we mean by this term? It could be breath work. It could be a guided meditation that you do listening to an app. It could be a simple nature walk, taking time to journal, or a gratitude practice where you're writing down what you're grateful and thankful for in your life. It doesn't have to be complicated. Mindfulness can be whatever works to get you in touch with your brain, body, and awareness. Even you can check in and do a body scan or ask yourself, am I hungry? Am I thirsty? Am I hot? Am I cold? How am I feeling right now? Do my feet hurt? It's really simple, that simple. When these everyday practices are done with intention, They create powerful changes in how we think and feel. Your goal isn't perfection. What matters most is consistency. These micro moments of presence simply reshape your brain's wiring over time. Just 10 minutes a day as a goal can help strengthen your focus, your emotional balance, and your overall brain resilience. So, let's take a mindfulness break. I'm going to show you how simple it is. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath in. And let it go. Now, notice your shoulders, your jaw, your breath. You can open your eyes. That's mindfulness. That's the practice. That's it. I love how Vegan 4D founder Terry Moore puts it. He says the cultivation of mindfulness is essential. It's the turning of the key in the lock to open the door. It is an essential part of holistic health. When we practice mindfulness, we are not just calming the mind, checking out, taking a break. We're actually shifting the brain's electronic rhythm. Two key brain waves come into play here, and these are alpha and theta. This chart shows all the brain waves and states that our brain goes through throughout the day. Alpha brain waves are linked to a calm, alert state, the kind you feel when you're relaxed but still aware. This is often where we land when we're practicing mindful breathing for meditation. Then there are the theta waves, a little bit lower, slower, deeper, and they're associated with emotional insight, creativity, and that dreamy space between wakefulness and sleep. These often arise during deeper states of mindfulness or body scans. And in more advanced or long-term meditation practices, we may often see gamma waves. These are fast, synchronized patterns that are linked to focused attention, learning, and even compassion. So mindfulness is not just a mental break, as I said. It's actually a neural tune-up, helping your brain shift into states that support your clarity, connection, and resilience. So let's continue talking about gamma. Gamma frequencies are often associated with high-order cognitive function, memory, attention, and learning. Amyloid plaque disrupts healthy brain rhythms and impairs communication between neurons. 40 Hz light stimulation can induce healthy brain gamma rhythm by a process called entrainment. We're going to talk more about that in a minute. This is an emerging science-backed tool for brain optimization. With light therapy, it can gently stimulate brainwave activity at gamma, an essential rhythm for memory, focus, and clarity. It's non-invasive, easy to use, and it makes a promising complement to all the core lifestyle habits that we talked about, like movement, nutrition, and sleep. Now, let's take a closer look at what entrainment is and how it works. Gamma waves, especially at 40 Hz, help synchronize brain rhythms. This is sort of like a conductor conducting an orchestra. This synchrony supports attention, working memory, and complex thinking. As we age, our timing can fall out of sync. Entrainment, syncing brain rhythms to an external 40 Hz signal can help restore that balance. And here's what's remarkable. Current studies show that 40 Hz specifically is the frequency that produces brain benefits. While other gamma frequencies exist, it's a big range. 40 Hz is the one that's shown to promote neural synchrony, reduce amyloid buildup, and support memory in both animals, mice, and humans in clinical studies. More researches need to be done around how the other frequencies compare, but for now, 40 hertz stands out. Increasingly, one study presented at the Symposium on Yoga Therapy and Research in 23 showed that combining 40 hertz light with physical activity daily produced greater cognitive improvements than either intervention on their own. So, the benefits of 40 hertz may be amplified when used alongside movement, which we already know boosts neuroplasticity and BDNF, that and Miracle Grow I mentioned. The takeaway here is when you stack movement, which boosts blood flow and BDNF, with 40 hertz rhythm training, you're both supporting the structure and signaling, which are two pillars of the brain's long-term resilience. So let's look at the brain and what's happening on the cellular level. Your brain has built-in immune cells called microglia. These cells clear out damaged tissues, toxins, and harmful proteins like amyloid beta and tau. In animal studies, exposure to 40 hertz light increased microglial activity, turning them on to cleanup mode without triggering inflammation. The shift was linked to significant reductions in amyloid and tau accumulation, both of which are associated with cognitive decline. This line of research is supported by major institutions such as MIT, Boston University, and Georgia Tech. And they all suggest that 40 hertz stimulation may help maintain a better brain environment over time. While it supports focus and memory, the real power with 40 hertz may be in what it helps the brain clear, reset, and protect behind the scenes. So, we talked about 40 hertz light, and we have a product, Beacon 40. Beacon 40 delivers 40 hertz light therapy in a way that's easy to integrate into your day. You can use it during everyday activities, whether you're working, exercising, relaxing, reading. There's no need to stare directly at the light. You just have it in your peripheral while you're going about your day. Consistency matters, and 1 hour per day is recommended. It complements the foundational lifestyle habits that we've already discussed, and it can be used personally or it can be recommended to your clients. Now, you'll notice that I said we recommend using 40 hertz light in your peripheral field of vision, not staring directly into it. That's because the visual cortex in the brain responds more strongly to flickering light in the peripheral field. That activation spreads throughout the brain, supporting what we call gamma synchrony. This is linked to memory and focus. So far, we've talked about the science behind 40 hertz. But what makes Beacon 40 as a 40 hertz product stand out? Well, first, we have an award-winning design. It's not just functional. It's beautifully designed, and it's built to last. It's easy to use, and it fits into real environments like your bedroom, your office, or wellness space. It doesn't look like a medical device. What sets it apart is how customizable it is. Users can adjust the brightness, the tone, they can choose it for the ambience in their room. They can also set up your 40 hertz to your assistants, and there's an optional app available for scheduling timers to turn it on or remote control. You can have your assistant Alexa turn it on, for example. Unlike screen-based options, Beacon 40 is hardwired calibrated to a consistent 40 hertz flicker. It's guaranteed. There's no guesswork. Some people say, why don't you just use YouTube video? But screens cannot deliver a constant, consistent 40 hertz flicker. They're limited to refresh rates and device variability. Beacon 40 is also hardware calibrated, so the frequencies remain stable and effective. This isn't just theory. In a recent third-party study, Beacon 40 users reported impressive benefits after just 6 weeks of daily use. They reported up to 48% improvement in their focus, up to 40%, 6% boost in their mood, a 40% reduction in stress, and up to 19% improvement in their overall sleep. Finally, Beacon 40 is grounded in the same scientific research that we reviewed earlier, validated at institutions like MIT and Boston University. This is a tool backed by evidence, but designed for the real world and built with the brain in mind. Now, here are some testimonials from real clients, real voices that bring this data to life and show what better brain health looks like in everyday terms. One reviewer said she regained her clarity after months of struggling with memory fog. Just a few nights in, her sleep transformed too. Another shared that her focus improved so much she finally had her evenings back. No more hours of work after work catching up. Another user tracked her REM sleep and she said it doubled from 40 to 90 minutes, which is amazing. She was waking up fully rested for the first time in years. And another woman who was navigating post-surgical menopause said that Beacon 40 helped her feel sharper and more in control again. So when we talk about memory, sleep, focus, we're not just talking about brain waves. We're talking about people getting their lives back. So, bringing it all together, integration really is the key. Combine movement, nutrition, sleep, mindfulness techniques, and emerging tools and tech like Beacon 40, and you can tailor your approach to your unique needs or those of your clients. Age, lifestyle, and your status and your health do matter. Start small, build consistent habits over time. Consider using the Brain Health RX or the prescription I'm going to show next for your coaching programs or for self-care. Here is the simple and sample brain health prescription. So think about this as something you can do, incorporating all the elements we've talked about. A daily walk for 20 to 30 minutes or a light exercise section. Having balanced meals that are antioxidant rich and full of healthy fats. Aim for 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep on a consistent regular sleep schedule. Take daily mindfulness or breath work breaks. We mentioned how important 10 minutes a day could be to help you, but try for 5 and go from there. Optionally, you can use 40 Hertz light therapy for 1 hour a day as a supportive tool while you're doing some of these other activities. To wrap up, let's remember your brain responds to what you do consistently. Whether it's walking more, sleeping better, trying out light therapy, every small shift matters. It's never too late to start, and you don't need to wait till you see problems. As we've seen today, prevention isn't passive, it's powerful. I want to thank you so much for your time and attention today. I look forward to supporting your brain health journey in any way that I can. And for more information, you can check out resources on our website. You can learn about Beacon 40, and there are opportunities to share this with your clients or learn more for yourself. Please don't hesitate to reach out. Talk about brain health.
All right. Well, you're welcome, and thank you as well. Let's see. I actually had a couple of questions that I'll start with too. Carlos just dropped one, and I'll get to his. I'll get to his right away. Um, so, Talia, what do you think of muscle development and myokines production and its benefits for brain health? Thank you.
Oh, that's a great point, Carlos. Carlos, and you might be more of the expert on that than I am. But as we develop muscle, especially for women, as I mentioned before, it's very helpful and protective for our brain health overall. With myokines production, that is something that I would have to look into a little bit more to address. But overall, we need to consider that muscle development, preserving our muscle, strengthening our muscle as we age is not just helping our body, it's not just how we look, it is impacting our brain health as well. Thanks for that great question.
Yeah, Carlos, I've done a bunch of brain fitness webinars for us too, and I did the Alzheimer's and brain fitness course, so I'll jump in here too. What we found is that there's specific types of myokines are released when we do specific types of exercise. And what this means is that to optimize exercise for brain health benefits, we need to do not just strength training, not just aerobic training, but both, because there's some overlap, but there is some unique there is some degree of unique myokines that get released with each of those two modalities of exercise that you don't get in the other one. And I'm sure as we do additional research in the future, you're going to see that continue because everything we do has, I guess, a unique property in the brain as far as what it teaches the brain to get better at doing. So strength training has some unique benefits for myokine production in addition to aerobic training as well. So be sure to do both like we always do for bone health and for heart health and everything else. So we just keep doing what we're always doing and we'll be fine. But that's a really good question, Carlos, because that's a very, very new area of research that's getting a lot of attention in terms of the myokine production for brain health and exercise. Okay, so Talia, I had a question too. What about the? I was just curious about, like in human history, for Homo sapiens, do you know what the sources of 40 hertz light were in nature that led us to have the kind of biological response we do to that frequency of light? Like, what are the typically historical natural sources of 40 hertz light that we would have experienced as early Homo sapiens?
So the way I'll answer that is our brain, those different brain waves that we have, all the way from the low delta up to gamma, we have that occurring naturally, whether we're exposed to light or frequencies or not. What's very interesting now is with light and sound, uncovering what ancient humans or Homo sapiens, where they had these methods. And when it comes to the 40 hertz light, that is something that is very intriguing, what you're saying, how we would experience it. We know when we look at modern things like screens, there's a 60 hertz refresh range. I cannot speak to, off the top of my head, any natural source of 40 hertz light, but with sound, we're learning more about some of these rhythms and like rhythms and natural rhythms that people were experiencing these frequencies more than we realized and how that was impacting them. For 40 hertz light in particular, there's not one that comes to mind. Were you thinking of something when that question popped up?
No, I'm just curious about, like, since there's, I guess there are some clearly beneficial properties to exposing ourselves to 40 hertz light. There has to be a reason we have that response to it. And, anything we have a response to is typically because of human evolution. So just wondering where the sort of evolutionary basis was for our response to 40 hertz light. But that's cool too.
We're
Another
still
question we have here.
we're still
Sorry,
learning
go
so
ahead.
much about it. We're still learning
Hmm.
so much about 40 hertz frequency, what is actually impacting different parts of the brain and what's going on with this frequency. While we know it's a natural frequency, how we have this frequency less naturally as we age, we're learning to understand that, what impact it has on the lymphatic system. We saw this activation of microglia in the mouse model. So we're still really trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together around brain health, and it's an exciting emerging time. But we don't want to wait till we understand the whole puzzle. If we can go ahead and harness that powerful um, entrainment today.
I would agree. I usually tell people, don't wait until you know everything to do something. So,
Yes,
um,
especially when it
okay,
comes to
well,
your
do
brain.
Exactly. We'll do one more question. I was curious about are certain times of day better to use the Beacon 40 lamp? Specifically, I guess, do the color options in the product allow for correlating the amount of blue light for matching our human circadian rhythms, or is it, is there any correlation with certain times of day where it's better, and can you adjust the color temperature?
That's a great question. So what I'm hearing you ask are actually a couple questions. Are there certain times of
Mhm.
day that are better to use 40 hertz light? And with
Mhm.
the light options for color and brightness, does it make a difference for optimizing maybe your circadian rhythm? Is that
Yep.
what you're asking?
Yep.
So
Exactly.
I have a lamp here, and you can see this setting is, let's see, turn it on. You might can see the flicker a little bit on the screen. It's hard to see, but we have a
Hmm.
setting here where we have the uh, tones, and the flicker is what is the basis of the science here. So that's what's important. So to answer your question about color, one thing I want to address is the flicker is what's important. That's where you're getting the entrainment. The color is really optional. So to your other question, what time of day is it better to use and how should you use this to help reset? Each
Hmm.
person has a different lifestyle and a different circadian rhythm. So depending on what they find themselves in, like a shift work or someone who has a lot of natural light or doesn't wake up to natural light, they may want to use the light in a different way. And we recommend, your exposure to natural light from outside, not from this lamp for 40 hertz, as a way to reset that within 30 minutes of waking.
Hmm.
That's more ideal. But we do
Right.
find that some people like to use this light a little bit brighter in the morning. And then you can see I'm turning up and down it's probably hard to tell on the computer screen, turning up and down the changing the tones, and then the frequency you can also turn up and down.
Hmm.
But we find it's an individual user preference, honestly. You're getting the therapy with just having the light here in your peripheral. And if you don't like the brightness, you can change it. If you like to have it brighter when you turn it on in the morning when you check your email, or if you're using it to do your skincare routine before you go to bed and you like to have it dimmer, it really is just a personal preference. Some
Okay.
people, based on their lifestyle habits, find it's easier or it helps them with some people feel a boost from it with focus, so they use it while they're working. Some people find it's something they can just have on while they're exercising or reading or doing their journal, and they're really just doing it passively, so they're not getting an effect at that time. They're noticing it later as they go forward. So
Hmm.
to answer your questions, both any time of day except while you're sleeping is okay, but you as an individual user should determine based on your lifestyle and your habits what works best.
Awesome. Perfect. That was an excellent answer. Thank you very much. Also, thank you for your time and expertise. It was very informative and enjoyable as well. So, everyone, be sure to take advantage of the discount that Beacon 40 has offered you if you're interested in this technology. Code's right there. I'm also putting it in the follow-up email that you'll receive in a few hours that has a replay link. You'll have the link to the product and also the discount code there. It's good until July 31st, so got a little time to think about it. So just be sure to watch the replay if you have any other additional bits of information you want to dive in a little more deeply into, and be sure to sign up for any of our future webinars. And thanks to Talia for giving her time and expertise. And also thanks to all of you for attending this. And we hope you found it valuable and you'll sign up for our future webinars. And we'll see you on another one soon. Bye, everyone. Bye.